Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 187 of Licensed to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I am your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, disengaged, disgruntled, dissatisfied, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to your favorite podcast player, including iHeartRadio, and subscribe to the License to Live show. And while you're there, please rate this episode and tell me what you like about it so that I can continue to bring you the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And today, we have the final installment of, at least for now, because there's just so many episodes we could do like this, of our Women's History in the Making series. This is volume 4, and we are going to highlight a few more interviews along the way that we have happened to have with so many women's history makers who have been on the show. And I'm glad to share them all with you today. First, we're going to be talking with Jenae Noonan. She is a mixed martial arts gold medalist in the world's game. She's won multiple medals, in fact, and you'll go on to hear about that, who had a horrendous neck injury that almost derailed her career, and she tells how she got back into it. We have meteorologist Katie Fehlinger. She spent some time with us on License to Live, talking about how she left her Philadelphia meteorology job to go take off on some of her own interests. She had a job that everybody thought would be the greatest job on earth, but she wanted something different and better for her in her life, and she talks about that. And finally, in this episode, we have former Navy nurse and television health reporter Allie Gorman. She comes to the show and talks about her change that led her from reporting about health interests on the news into her own entrepreneurship and starting her own app. So there are so many current day women's history makers that have been on this show. We wanted to just highlight a few throughout Women's History Month and beyond. So once again, thank you to all of the women who have been on the show and enlightened us with stories from their lives. And that certainly has opened many people's eyes and kept it even much higher. So we're going to get to these episodes right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, License to Live Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Jenae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarrett on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey. Let's go.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
To all of my international listeners, I want you to listen up. I mean, Ghana, you guys have been riding hard with me. I've been trending on your top podcasts in Ghana, Italy, Germany, Mexico, you guys have been popping on the map lately. And I know I just made another visit to Mexico recently, and I'm just thrilled with the support and all of you guys that are listening to License to Live internationally. Keep it up. Tell your friends about the show, and we will keep producing the shows. And I'm going to give you guys shout outs whenever I make one of these other countries' top 100 or 200 podcast lists. I'm going to let you know. And most recently it was Ghana. All of you guys that ride with me, Foster, Abraham, many of you guys in Ghana, thank you for listening to the show, and tell a friend. So first up to bat is a self-proclaimed fiery redhead, MMA champion, Jenae Noonan. She came to the License to Live show and just dropped a lot about her own story and how she really overcame a severe neck injury. I mean, you might as well say she broke her neck. And she wanted to continue on being a mixed martial arts champion, went on to win bronze medals, gold medals, and so on and so forth. And she spent a little time with us telling us about some of the things that made her want to keep going down the pathway of MMA and becoming something even greater in her own mind. Take a listen to what she says here.
2004, right at the beginning, again, I'm dating myself if you're going to do the math on this, I very, very badly hurt my neck. I separated something or other, like, for whatever reason, the exact terms are not coming to my mind, but I wasn't supposed to be able to play soccer again. Like, my neck was just, I was about to cuss. My neck was just effed. And so the doctors were like, find something else to do with your life. And being 24 at the time, I'm a redhead, and redheads are fiery. And you don't really tell a redhead what to do. And if you have, you probably have experienced getting punched in the face. So
it's all coming back.
Yeah. So the doctors telling me that I need to get a life and I need to do this and I need to do that. And I'm just like, have you met me, bro? Like, you just challenged me. Like, you just gave me the challenge I need to shove it up in your face and compete again. So 2006 to 2012, 6 years, I started training again and started climbing that ladder. Mostly it took me 6 years because in the back of my mind, I was scared. Like, what if the doctor's right? What if I get hit one more time and I'm dead? That was always in the back of my mind. And in 2012, my coach was like, let's go get a second opinion. Let's go get new x-rays. Let's go see where you're at. Or you need to leave my gym because I'm tired of your little whiny, little scared booty being here. And I was like, okay. So we went and got second opinions, and no doctor cleared me. Come to find out that no doctor would, because they'd be liable. But one doctor was like, well, your neck does look decent, and decent was enough for me.
Oh, so, wow.
So, I went back. I had a very debilitating injury in 2006 that was supposed to be career ending.
Tell me this, like if you were, having this very significant injury, lots of doctors listen to this show. So they're all trying to figure out the diagnosis. They got you covered. Don't worry about that part. But, for you to have the courage to come back after that neck injury and then having the ability to do it. I mean, what were you thinking?
I wasn't. Just kidding. Pure stupidity. No. I made a joke about being a redhead, but I want to live my life on my terms. Like, there's never going to be somebody who tells me what I can and can't do. But just imagine my life during 2020 when the government was like, don't do this. Whoops. Anyways, so somebody bad joke, but it was more of a determination that I'm going to live my life by my own terms. And I did talk about how I fought for the attention, and then I made this thing about how deep in psychology I had, and I've since worked through all of this, but I needed to constantly prove myself, and I needed to prove that I was good enough. And who I was proving that to, I don't really know. But so I needed to prove to the universe, deep down to myself, deep down to those demons, I don't know, that I could come back and that I could do it, and that I was strong enough, and nobody was going to have that control over me. So my why was to prove everybody wrong. My why was to show everybody I was strong. My why was this deep down desire to live by my own terms and be awesome. I wasn't ready to give it up. I wasn't ready to give up fighting. I wasn't ready to give all that up. And I didn't know who I was outside of it. I didn't have an identity outside of that. And then, so that was who I was. So I just came back, and in 2012, I made Team USA, and I went to the World Games and won a bronze. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, you've got the best story in the world. You won a bronze medal. And I looked at them and I was like, it's a freaking bronze, dude. Like, I need a gold. Like, what are you talking about? This bronze medal is bronze. And everyone's like, there's 55 countries. Like, you just came here and got a bronze medal out of 55 countries. And I was like, here you go. You take it if you like it that much.
Jenae, yeah, she is a fiery redhead, as you see, but she gave lots of jewels and gems in the Punched in the Face episode. So check out the Punch in the Face episode so that you can really see where she came from. Next up, we have another news personality, Katie Fehlinger. She's been on the License to Live stage before. She's come to and been a wonderful guest on the License to Live podcast. And she talks about, having what many people would consider a dream job, reporting the weather on a Philadelphia CBS affiliate, and having the epiphany that she needed to make a change in her life and left all of that behind to take on endeavors of her own. So I want you to hear what she says in this segment of the Making a Change from the Weather episode. Have you ever been dissed in your career?
Yeah, there's, because I knew that you were going to ask me this question, I went and started just looking up all the different words that start with DIS, because I knew that I would have a handful of them just off the top of my head. And there were a couple that you mentioned in your intro that I absolutely would echo. Dissatisfied, disgruntled, and a lot of that I actually put on myself, because I got to a point in my career where I was in a situation where I wasn't making my own situation better. And I was expecting someone else to make it better for me. When I really did this gut check and a self-audit of what was going on, why I was unhappy, I realized that it was because I wasn't setting myself up to be happy. So I would use words like dissatisfied. I was distressed over this situation. I felt disgruntled, whether it was warranted or not. I felt disillusioned in my career and even just in my home life, because having from the outside looking in would, I think, seem like a perfect situation to a lot of people. I have this amazing career, and I don't take for granted 1 second that what I had was coveted and prestigious to be able to say I was in that position, but it wasn't what really lit a fire in me. With all of those disses.
Oh no, not another test.
There was this very distinguishable mindset shift that I ended up in, where I realized that I needed to make a change. And even along the way there too, I kind of felt like I disappeared as well, because in my position at CBS, again, while I don't take it for granted for 1 second, by the point that I felt the need to make a change, there wasn't room for me to grow anymore. I was in the morning meteorologist spot. There wasn't anywhere else for me to advance, because our chief is in place, our chief meteorologist. She's not going anywhere. And even if she did, I don't want that job because it would mean putting my girls on a school bus and not seeing them again for the rest of the day, which I couldn't live with. And then also there's just the product of my schedule and the nature of my job and my defined role as weather on the first half of the day that kind of put me in this, not to sound dramatic, but it kind of put me in a cage of sorts where I couldn't really branch out and do much else. But I just feel like, and I think we'll talk more about what else I'm doing now, I felt like I had so much else I could do and so much more I could offer from a subject matter standpoint, from, just my talents are broader than just doing weather. And I wanted to explore those and have a chance to use them. Very long-winded answer to a very simple question.
But it was excellent. And fire starters, you have to hear this. She said that she needed to make her own situation better. And a lot of times it requires a self-audit. There's some things in your life when you're unhappy, people say, well, it's the job, it's the place, it's this office that I'm sitting in. And then they run off and go take another job somewhere else, feel happy for a few months, but then that unhappy feeling goes on. And so people start running from a problem and not really knowing what the cause of it is. They thought it was the place. So they said, okay, maybe I'll try another place, and they'll switch again after a year. Same feelings of unhappiness. So one of the things you really have to do is take that self-audit, take that time to look at yourself, look at the reasons why you're happy, and find reasons that your career and your life could be happier, and try to incorporate that in what you're doing. Because you may just be doing the wrong thing. You just may have taken yourself down this career path so long that you thought that's what you wanted to do for all of your life. But sometimes maybe that's not always the case. Katie has something to say that will always pique your ears, and you got to go check her out on social media, see the types of things she's doing now, and make sure you listen to the episode that's listed right in the show notes. And finally, we have Nurse Allie Gorman. She is a Navy nurse. She also had an interest in television broadcasting and ultimately went on to be a health reporter on this Philadelphia ABC affiliate. And she has not only been a guest on the License to Live podcast, she has also come to the License to Live the conference stage and delivered a great presentation. So you guys got to go to licensetoLive.com and go check out some of those old License to Live conference recordings, because the gems dropped there truly are life-changing. And in this episode, Allie Gorman had a great job on the TV reporting on health topics every day using her health background as a nurse. And she started to feel symptoms of burnout, which made her take a completely different pathway that led her on the journey to entrepreneurship, simply leaving her lucrative television broadcasting job behind. Let's take a listen to see what Allie has to say.
And this was, before the pandemic, I was already kind of feeling like I wanted to make some sort of change. And then the pandemic happened. And I'll be honest, as horrible as the pandemic is, I love public health reporting. I find it fascinating. And I was able to interview, some of the brightest minds, some people doing really innovative research on this brand new virus. I did. I found it fascinating and I liked doing the work. However, 2 years in, and I'm doing more reports per day than I've ever done in my life, really with, fewer resources. And I was burned out. After 2 years of pandemic reporting, I found myself burned out.
And what were you feeling at that time? Was there anything specific you can put your finger on?
One, I had already started my startup. It was a side project before the pandemic had started. And it was just a side project. As I had to put it on the back burner because my schedule was so crazy during the pandemic. But then probably like a year into it, like things started to come up. I started to get calls from startup studios and I started, working more with the developers, and I had a lot more going on with the startup. Couple that with, I was burned out. And what, viewers also didn't know, because you have to kind of keep this private during the time, but I had just become a foster parent and I had, a baby. I had a little baby at the time. And when the pandemic hit, he was only 7 months old.
Wow.
So, and then, daycares are shutting down and I'm still working full time. Babysitters are exposed or getting sick. It was a constant juggling act. I've since adopted him, I should say. I got to adopt him shortly after his second birthday. But all this is happening. I'm burned out. And then, any parent can tell this feeling. I would get home at night and I kind of knew he needed me around more than I could be around when I was doing that news job. I needed to be home more often than I could be with that schedule. And it kind of broke my heart because I would get home and, a babysitter had picked him up from his daycare and he was exhausted. I basically put him in the tub and put him to bed, and it just didn't sit well with me. So I knew I had to make a change for several reasons. And it was like, all of them coming together at once.
And that's a great lesson for anybody to hear and anybody to learn, Allie, because you start to listen to these signs and symptoms of your body, maybe your life, maybe some external forces saying that this is no longer feels right. So something that felt right. And as you even said, you were really enjoying all this public health reporting, and there was a number of other things, but life sometimes sneaks in there and then things don't work out the way we had intended it to. These are great tips from Allie. I mean, one, she knows so much about nursing. She knows a lot about our military, lots about broadcasting. She's able to help with a number of different things. So check out Allie on social media and make sure you listen to her episode in its entirety, which is right here in your show notes. All you have to do is click. So again, this is just another example of 3 more women's history makers who are making history in real life, real time. And that's why they were on the License to Live show. There's just a number of special people that we interview on this show that show us all of the great things that people do when they put their mind to it, when they decide to move on to something and have that courageousness to make a change. That's totally what the difference is. So take these 3 examples of people who have done tremendous things and changed their paths along the way, and think about your own life. Think about those areas where you're not happy. Think about those areas where you wish you could do more for others. And at the end of the day, have the courage to move forward. And if you don't quite yet have the courage to move forward, go to timewithdrjarrett.com and we will give you the free strategy session that can change your life. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, or simply plain old dissed in your career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to License to Live. And through all the people that I help through this show, I would love to help many more people through this show. And I need your help by giving me a 5-star rating. Tell me the things that you like about this show so I make sure I'm providing you with the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And in between episodes, I'm on LinkedIn. Come check me out there. And there's lots of dialogue and discussion going on, to say the least. And until then, I will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.